since I started working here, there have been like predetermined labs that we have taught. There were about 3 labs a semester that were strict biodiversity labs where we talked about living organisms. We had specimens that were either preserved or maybe in a jar, and we would pass those around. It was really boring. There was very little engagement. It was kind of like kindergarten show and tell, only with college students. So if it was boring for me, I'm pretty sure these students had absolutely no interest whatsoever. So there were a couple of us in the department who started working on trying to make those more engaging and more fun. The reason that we picked escape rooms, we had seen the ads for the actual physical locations, but there is a board game that is a paper version of an escape room, and I had gotten it for my family. I played it at home, and so I brought it to work, and we sit there, and one of us had a PhD, 3 of us have master's degrees, and we died in the easiest level of the game. But we didn't even realize the time had passed because it was so much fun. But we thought if there was some way that we could take that and transform it into something we could use in our classroom, it would be great. So we started generating the clues using free apps, web pages, web tools that we had accessed online, and just the materials that we had in our lab manual that we expected the students to learn anyway. We used the actual specimens that we had before, but they would have to go and find those. We wouldn't tell them what they were. They had access to videos, to QR codes in order to lead them in the direction that they needed to go. And so they would have to answer a question about the type of veins in a leaf to escape. And the students became a lot more engaged that way. They had to use a higher level of thinking to get to those answers than what they were expected from before. And the competitiveness really came out in some of those groups. People that were shy and quiet that you never heard speak were gung-ho. I mean, they were ready to just annihilate all of the competitions. They wanted to be the first ones to escape. Some groups obviously do better than others, so some of them didn't quite escape on times. But they still stayed to finish, which was unheard of in an introductory class for non-majors who really don't have a lot of interest in that topic to begin with. So for my part of the Mobile Fellowship, we have classes that are completely online, even the labs. And so I built a completely digital escape room, and they would have to go through each room online. They would have links to videos or to other resources, and so they were completely digital. Our success rates as far as test scores and completion of the class successfully, which is a C or better, have increased. Most students really enjoyed it, but we wanted to do more. We want to see more improvement, so we are still tweaking it just a little bit. We spend a lot of time sitting down after the escape rooms are over with and talking about which clues worked really well, which clues did they struggle with. Maybe we need to add a little hint in here to point them in the right direction or to make something a little bit more clear. We did a couple of different trial runs before I don't want to say we have the perfect strategy because we don't, but before we landed on where we are now, which is a pretty good place.